All right, folks, welcome in. It is House Edge Live. It is John from Casino Gaming Central, and I apologize for the wonkiness this morning again. Recurring theme over here, but we got a little bit of a late start because the streaming software that I use, I'm trying to do that dual stream thing, and I canceled the vertical view because everybody complained about it, at least at the beginning. And when I did that, it canceled both. So I had to redo the whole damn thing like in the last 3 seconds here. So anyway, I'm talking to myself right now, which is fine. We'll hopefully you guys will be joining me here in just a few minutes, and we'll get the show on the road here. So, with that said, I want to remind you tonight. This is Thursday, the 5th of February. So if you're on Thursday watching me tonight, Ed from Roll to Win and 10 Ton is number one are doing their first ever live stream version, their actual live stream of Casino Tiers tonight. So 5:30 Pacific time that is. So we'll see you tonight out there watching Roll to Win and 10 Ton on Casino Tiers live. So that'll be kind of cool there. I know he's a little nervous about that, but it should be pretty cool. Yeah, sorry about this. It's not your fault that the stream got lost. It was my fault. When I hit the button, it nuked everything. So anyway, let's go. Now I'm all like, we talk about like your mindset being right to play craps. Now my mind is all everywhere because of this software bullshit. Anyway, let's do it. Let's get into the fun stuff here. And I want to kick it off with the daily reminder, right? Of why does my show matter? Why do I give a shit about doing it? Why do I spend so much time prepping every day? It's because of this, right? Because casinos, although we love them, I love them. I want to own one someday, right? But ultimately, that business model is anti their customer, right? They provide a great service and all the fun and everything else, but ultimately, the business model revolves around taking all your money. That's what it revolves around, unlike any other business on the planet, right? So anyway, we have to just not forget that that's a thing. And you can't forget the math, right, is the thing too. And if you can beat the math somehow, which some people can, you don't get to play anymore. It's just the fact of the matter. They won't let you beat them, right? Whether it's card counting, whether it's what you want to say, dice setting, whatever, whether it's sports betting, any edge you get is canceled. Just the way they work. So that's the business model. So we're fighting against that. And because we live in that world, I think it's good for us to find tools that we can use to help us out, help us in that fight. And one of the tools, or a set of tools, I guess, is what we call the bridge. It's this understanding of how your bankroll works, how you view risk. Can you identify when it's time to stay and lean in or leave? Do you have discipline to make that decision actually stick? Do you set goals? Are you emotionless? Can you just go and work it? Can you execute, right? Without, and I don't mean not have fun, but I mean, can you execute without the emotion of the moment driving a decision? That's the big thing. So, to this end, I've been monkeying around. As you know, we're midway through this series called the ABCs of Gambling. And my intent has been through the series really to have some fun, like find different ways of saying the same sort of thing, right? Like saying the discipline, the be careful, the watch your emotions, all that stuff. It's all so important. And I find fun ways to frame it. So this month or so, we're doing the ABCs. It's basically every letter of the alphabet, finding words that start with that letter. And today we've worked our way all the way through to letter T, which is about time and tilt. And it's one of the thing is, one of the biggest edges the house has isn't the house edge itself. It's time. The house edge relies on time. Every hour you sit there, it just feeds the math that grinds you down. It's the way it works, right? They've built an entire environment designed to make you lose track of time. No windows, no clocks, free drinks, comfy chairs. They're buying your time because your time is their money. That's the way that it works. And something you might not want to admit, the biggest enemy at the table isn't the dealer, it's you, right? When your emotions take over, when you're on tilt, a T word, you make decisions that could cost more than any bad beat ever really could. So today I want to get into time, talk about tracking, knowing the truth about finding better tables, understand what it means to be on tilt, and hopefully raise some awareness. So here we go. Let's get to it. And as I noted, time on the table is one of the biggest edges the casino has, right? And you know, like these stories, we can tell them all day long, right? You walk in with 500, you walk out with 500, it's a great session, right? If you played for 8 hours, that's not a great session. You might think a tie is a win, and I think that sometimes too, but 8 hours, time is the edge that they don't ever advertise. That's just what it is. The casino has tons of edge everywhere, but I think time is the one that you never think about. And unfortunately, most of our casino trips aren't day trips. Most of us don't just drive out and drive back home, unless you have a local that's close by you. Most people go there and stay, and they stay for probably close to free. So you think about that. When they have you in their grasp, time is just, it's the smallest part of our equation, but it's the biggest part of their formula, right? The formula is this: average bet by decisions per hour, by hours played, by house edge. That's your expected loss. We'll talk more about that later on. But that is the window with which they view you through, that formula. How big your bets are, how many bets you're making an hour, how many hours you're there by their house edge. That's the expected loss. Blackjack, 25-hour average bet, 60 hands an hour. That's $1,500 rolling in action per hour, right? At the 0.5% house edge, you're expected to lose about $7.50 an hour or so. 2 hours, $15. 8 hours, $60. Again, you're a walking dollar sign to them. Now, the reality check is most players aren't playing perfect basic strategy in blackjack, right? So the real house edge is about 1% or 1.5%, which makes that same 8 hours worth $120, $150 at the casino. All right. So short sessions, they win. Again, you need luck on your side, but why do short sessions win? Well, in a game where the expectation is negative, and every game in the casino is a negative expectation game, variance is your friend in the short term. Now, again, you may get thumped right away, but most of the time, right, variance will hit you in the short term in over 100 hands only, or 3 or 4 shooters. Anything can happen. You may win, you may lose, but the house edge doesn't have enough decisions to assert itself. And that's a big thing for us all to realize. 1,000 hands, 1,000 rolls of the dice in a day, now the math's catching up to you. And the longer you play, the more certain it becomes that you'll lose close to what the EV is. And that's typically negative. And this is why smart players keep their sessions short. You're not trying to beat the math long term. You're trying to get in, catch some variance, and get the hell out before the edge grinds you down, right? So there it is. So I think setting limits is a big way to help out here, right? You set a time limit. It's hard to honor a time limit because things are happening, right? Maybe you're winning. Maybe the dice are on their way to you and you want to stick there, right? But the problem is when you're up, a lot of people think, oh, I want a heater. Just keep playing. When you're down, they think, oh, I can't leave now. I got to get back to even again, right? Well, both of those things keep you there. And when you're there, the casino is winning on every single outcome. So you need some kind of an external like function or something like an alarm on your phone or a dinner reservation or a show reservation, or maybe ask your spouse to come give you the tap at a certain time, right? Create something that you can't get out of. That might help for some people, right? But I think it's important for y'all to know your expected loss for your normal game and bet size before you hit the casino. If you've got a casino host, I see Jen's out here in the audience and she's part of, the premier group. They will tell you, ask them, what's my Theo? They'll tell you what your expected loss is. Know that going in, right? You can then figure out what your expected loss is going to be, right? What does 2 hours feel like, right? If you front load your gambling where 2 hours of, bang and you're doing well and 4 hours later you're beat, well, guess what? When your alarm goes off, you can get the hell out of there, right? Warning signs, right? 1 more hour, 1 more shooter, 1 more whatever. That's the most expensive time, right? Your edge, your decision-making process is worse when you're tired, and you're always more tired than you think you are. And again, that casino environment it's designed to distort everything, right? No perception of time, no windows, no clock. You have no idea what's going on in the world. You're there like in a vacuum. And again, they're buying your time because your time is worth money. So if you find yourself asking, how long have I been here? You've been there too freaking long. And that's the truth right there. So Yeah, time is the casino's silent partner, and it's why the house edge works. It's the reason why house edge works. It's time. You got to set limits. You got to be fearless in your decisions to get out when you have a chance to. All right. Next up is tracking. So we're going to talk about tracking on two levels here. So the questions I've got for you is this, and I know some of you know the answer, some of you won't. How much did you win last year? How much did you lose last year? And if you don't know that number, right? If you don't know that number right now, you're a target, not a gambler. And it's, again, a simple question. How much did you win or lose gambling? Did you write it down? Your answer's got to be precise, okay? And again, your human memory sucks, right? Our memory lies to us, right? It's terrible for gambling results, right? We remember the big wins, stories to tell, the excitement, the exact amount of the win. You memorize some of the big losses because a lot of times they come with a story too. But the middle ground, the grind, we lose all that. It all blends together in a sense of, I had some bad sessions, I won and lost, right? That's where the money's lost. Not the big wins, not the big losses. It's in that grind in the middle where the casino sucks your bankroll dry. And now it's not a character flaw that you can't remember that, by the way. It's just how your brain works, right? Something that's emotional, that has a bigger peak or a deeper valley, that stuff sticks in your brain. And that's why you remember those things, right? And the result is that most people, when you ask them, how did you do last year, would say they're about even. Most people answer that question, about even, right? You're probably down. And some of you are way down and don't realize it. So I think what you've got to do is track sessions. And I've said this a million times. And I'll show you a website here. The old CDTV website used to have a session tracker, right? I built a new one for us. Keep it simple. Right? For every session, record the important things. When it was, where did you play? On Super Bowl weekend, Ian, at the Flamingo, right? I played craps. I bought him for $1,000. I cashed out for $950. Okay? Time played, 3 hours. And put some notes in there. That's important information. $50 loss over 3 hours is important for you to know. You write it in a notebook, transfer it to a spreadsheet, use the Nexus app, whatever. It doesn't matter what you do, so long as you're being consistent doing it. And I think tracking within a session is important. I see Jen from the Justice Jen's out here in chat, who is a habitual note taker. You watch her at a game, every roll gets written down. I would say take that and transpose it. Put it on a computer somewhere. Every toss, every hand, every spin, whatever. If you have an app that you can load it in, it's nerd time. Put it in the app, because then you'll have a chance to tweak it. Run it through simulations. Look at it and go, man, I really missed that. And it's not like you can go back in history and change it, but you can say, look, when I was here, my bet was whatever, right? I didn't collect when I should have collected, or I didn't press when I should. You can look at your own betting patterns in those moments and say, next time that happens, next time I've got the second 6 hits, I'm going to do this instead and give myself a chance to either walk with money or lean into the shooter. But you can't do that if you're trying to remember what that person threw, right? Let me give you just a really quick look at some tracking, okay? So I'm going to show you here. This is Nexus, obviously. And here's a couple of views of the trackers, okay? One of them is I'll do the big version, right? So on the desktop version, you go to session logs, and here you can log everything, right? These are all just tests, right? But as you're going through, you can look back at your history. On this day, I did, whatever. What did I do here? I think I put in $50 or whatever it was, right? In for 100, out for 150. These are all just tests, right? In for 300, out for $15, right? Big loss that day. And you log them like this. You just go, hey, I did a trip to the store, right? And I played blackjack, and I was at the Buzz Inn. Actually, we'll call this Trivia Tuesday. Which I actually did, Trivia Tuesday, which I actually did this week. And we played for an hour, and we bought in for 150, and we cashed out for 375, right? My goal that day was to win $100. My loss limit was the whole $100. That was, and that's it. I can link it to my bank account. This came out of my 401g. The profits went into my profits account, and I did the 1324, and we're done, right? That's it. That's adding a session, and now it's in the thing. and I can go ahead and review it whenever I need to. I can see how I did. I can see where the money went. This is important to go back and take a look at your trends and see what you've done. In a given session, you may want to be on the mobile app, right? Again, it doesn't have to be my app. I'm just showing you because I have it, right? I can go to Game Trackers, I can go to Craps, and I can literally log every single roll that happens, right? I can do a new shooter who throws a 6 as the point, right? And start running out the games and track every outcome that comes. This is important stuff because you can take these results and run them through the computer later on. You can export them out and run them in, or use the game itself to kind of replay them. These things, these little things, I think are incredibly important to us. Let me go back to the other screen where I was. Hold on one second. I need to figure out. Remember how this happens to us where we get lost when I go here and we lose the thing. I was on the left-hand side. There we go. Okay. These little things are important, right? Having data. I know that gets nerdy, but you can take those sessions, right? And you can drop them into AI. Hey, AI, I played Craps. I played this strategy. I lost $50. Here's the rolls. What do you think I could have done better? And let it analyze for you. Let it take your last 20 gaming sessions and say, look, I went to the casino 35 times and here's what happened. What trends do you see? And let it do the analysis for you. It's very good at getting into data now. It's getting much better than it was before at contextualizing data. I would use that. Patterns tell you things, right? Your data starts to talk to you at some point. And you may notice, for example, you're more profitable at blackjack than craps. That's game selection, right? And that's me. I make more money at blackjack in my little bullshit casino here in Wenatchee than I do in Vegas playing craps. I just do. I enjoy craps. I think I'm pretty good at it. But you know what? I'm making more money doing blackjack and on a quickie. You may find that playing on weekends is where it's killing you, and your weekday, your morning sessions are the best ones. You may find that your short sessions are your better ones. But you won't know that unless you're looking at a list of outcomes and saying, here's what happened, right? I see Tony Leo's out here again. Tony, I know tracks everything. Tell him, Tony, you track everything. I've seen the books, right? If you don't track, you don't know. And if you don't know, you can't adjust. You don't know what to fix if you're just going, pretty sure I did blah. I think you need to keep good records. I think that it separates the weekender or the party guy gambler or whatever from somebody who's trying to act like a pro. And again, not saying you need to be a pro. I'm saying act professionally. And this is what professionals do. We write shit down. We know the answers to all the questions because we have the data in front of us. All right. Now, I want to move ahead here and pick a different topic on tees, and we'll do a little bit about table selection. So, and again, I've been doing this a lot, right? I've been talking about the same thing, but if I don't keep beating the same drum, we forget about this. Okay. Do you walk the floor before you sit down and play, or before you sit? Do you scout the tables? And I'm not saying scout the tables to see which one's hot, because that's bullshit. I'm saying, do you scout the tables to find the one that fits you? Within the same casino, the same game may play differently at different tables because of rules differences. You have to know this kind of stuff, right? In the same casino, you will find 3-2 blackjack and 6-5 blackjack in the same casino, right? Sometimes the electronic games are 6-5. Sometimes there's that stadium thing, which pays worse too. Know what it is. That little change, by the way, and I harp on this a lot. I know that the people who know, but the people who don't know, you got to help them. Okay. When it pays 6-5, that change from 3-2 on the payment of blackjack triples the house edge. And I don't want to keep beating house edge. Think about it in dollars. Okay. If you have a $20 or $30 bet, we'll use a nice even number, a $30 bet in blackjack, and you get a blackjack on a 3-2 game, pays $45. 3-2, $45. On a 6-5 game, that same blackjack pays $36. Let that sink in for a minute. You're playing perfect. You're doing everything right. The cards came up roses for you, and you gave away $9 because you sat down at the wrong fucking table. Think about that. Read the thing. It says it right there. The table normally says blackjack pays 6 to 5. If you see that, run, don't walk. If you see your friend playing that, tap him on the shoulder and get him off that damn table. Why would you give away money like that? And it's not, again, it's not just house edge, it's dollars. Other rules matter too, right? Can you double after a split? Can you surrender? How many decks are being played? All those variations swing your wins and losses. And every game has that. Baccarat, there's easy Baccarat, and there's regular Baccarat, and there's mini Baccarat, and there's all the ties that pay different. The side bets that they make you play or don't make you play. We talked about that yesterday. Some casinos make you play the side bet to play the game. I would never sit at a table where I had to put up $1 for every single bet. That's $80 an hour that I'm throwing away. Craps. Does it pay 15 to 1 in the middle or 15 for 1 in the middle? You should know that. All the strip pays 15 for 1. You should never play a strip casino if you're doing center action. They're sucking you out an extra $1 on every one of those plays, right? Does the ATS require that you play the pass line? Some casinos don't require that. It's a better situation for you if you're not required to do something else. But you got to know that if you're an ATS chaser, like I know our friend VDT is, why the hell would you play at a table where they make you make a bad bet to make that other bet? They're just bleeding your ass dry, unless you're using that bet as your hedge, as part of your strategy to play. Otherwise, that's a casino screw job. It just is what it is. Okay. And also look at the tables for how fast they're going. Okay. If it's slow, deliberate, 40 hands an hour kind of a table, right? A table full of regulars might go 80 hands an hour. And that, again, you got to look at that, right? Do you want the speed or do you want the slowness? Are you trying to minimize your loss? Slow tables are your friend, right? But if you found a hand shuffled game with a great dealer and the perfect rules for you, that's a fast table that a card counter is probably looking for. And that matters. When your edge is a sliver as a card counter, you want 80 hands an hour, not 40. You got to find that stuff, right? The intangible thing of the atmosphere matters too, right? A miserable dealer, right, creates a miserable experience. A table full of drunk, obnoxious cigar smokers can throw off your entire rhythm and your mood, right? Again, that doesn't make sevens happen. That doesn't make blackjacks happen for the dealer, but that does affect your decision. Your mood turns upside down. Your decisions affect the results. And on the flip side of that, a great dealer, a good energy table, makes your session memorable maybe, right? If you lose, you know, I had a good time. That's entertainment. That's what you're kind of paying for, right? The atmosphere is part of what you're buying, and a bad experience leads to bad choices. So I think in a casino, every bad choice is measured in dollars, including which table you pick, maybe especially which table you pick, right? So before you sit down anywhere, do a lap and go through your checklist, right? Read the rules, 3 to 2, 6 to 5 blackjack, easy Bach or regular Bach, right? Watch a few hands. How fast is it going? Are the players contesting everything? Is the dealer pleasant or they look like they're burned out? Are the players all doing the thing? Take a minute. You don't need to go in and go, oh, first seat I see and I'm in. That's a degenerate move right there, right? Take a minute, walk the floor, find your spot. Never play a bad game, even if it's ever. Never, ever play a bad game. It's not ever worth your time. If the energy's wrong, leave. You're allowed to not play, by the way. And your first impression is probably right. At craps, find a fun table where there's a spot you want to stand in, right? The math is the same everywhere you go, but the experience isn't. And a shit experience leads to shit decisions. And that's just the way that it is, right? And again, minimum bet, not the only consideration. A $15 table with 3 to 2 payments is cheaper than a $10 table with a 6 to 5 payment. It just is, right? And don't get locked in by your sunk costs, right? If you sit down and realize it's bad, get up and get out. Get up and get out. Don't try and fight back the money you lost just now. Get up and get out. Find a better situation for yourself. Crowded tables aren't always bad. Sometimes fewer hands per hour is a little less exposure. And you can think of it as paying for time, not action. All right. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about tilt and triggers. And here's the thing, right? We've all been there. We've all been there, right? You play great until the bad beat, and then something snaps, man. I got a million stories about this, right? We all probably do, right? Your next 10 decisions cost you more than that loss did because it triggered something in you and you went on tilt. You rail dumped. It's the most expensive emotion in gambling, right? And we all have been there, right? You lost a hand you should have won, or you finally got your six pressed up to table max, $500 locally or $1,000, and here comes the freaking 70. You should have regressed. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? And maybe it's been grinding too long, and that was the one that put you over the edge, and you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go in. Everybody claims, by the way, to have discipline. Everybody, I watch the comments, I see, the emails I get. I've got discipline. I'm glad you're talking about it. But guess what? I had discipline too, and I got triggered, and suddenly not playing my game. You're not playing your game. Betting bigger, chasing, going all the way across instead of staying inside. Right? You're betting on frustration, not strategy anymore. Right? And it's expensive because it compounds. Right? One bad decision puts you in a hole. The hole makes you more frustrated. And it leads to, you know what I'm saying. By the time you recognize it, you've probably lost more on tilt than you lost on that first bet. So take inventory of yourself, right? And here's a question. What's your trigger? It doesn't come from nowhere. Something sets it off, right? Is it just a bad beat, right? Losing 3 things in a row? Is it when you get close to even that you fall back? Is it some player criticizing how you're playing, like a don't player getting heat from somebody else? Is it a bad dealer or somebody with attitude? Is it you should have, but you did something wrong and that cost you in the moment? How many times have you said, I should turn my bets off, and then the 7 comes, like, now that's it. Now I'm going out 160. Happens, right? Some triggers are more personal for you. Maybe it's, playing when you're stressed out. Maybe it's somebody brushing by and touching you. It could be that third drink, past mid, whatever it is. Figure out what it is and dig into your warning signs. And I know, and Jen and Ian and people who are in chat who have played with me, I've told my warning signs, right? What does it look like at the table? What does it feel like inside? Is your hair standing up? Are you sweating? Do you see yourself making bigger bets, right? Do you clam up? What is it about you? Your body knows you're tilting before you do. And again, anybody who's played with me has seen me do this, right? When I'll get onto the rail and I do this move. This is the exact move. It's my fingers on my head and my thumbs in my cheeks and my elbows on the thing. I do it. When I get pissed off, that's what I do. I'm like, I should have, or didn't recognize, or I shouldn't be here anymore. I do it all the time. And I don't really feel it in the moment, but I know people around me do. They also know because I stop talking. If I go silent, and I'm not really paying attention, it's because I'm in my own head. And I know that. Believe me, I'm a teacher. I'm teaching this shit to you guys. I am a victim of it too. Right? Willpower fails. You need something predetermined, right? So write stuff down before you go. When I notice myself doing this, I will do whatever, right? When I see myself lose 3 hands in a row, I will sit out for a couple hands. I'm not trying to change the math. I just need to take a breath and make a better decision. When I feel the heat, when I feel myself sweating, bathroom break. If I catch myself betting more than my unit or more than I'm used to or more than every other shooter, I got to color up or I got to stop for a minute. You make that call before you get out there, right? Because the trigger, when it hits you, you're not making decisions anymore. You're just executing something ridiculous, right? So do it at home. Not at the table. The last time you went on tilt, write it down. In that session logger, write down, I went on tilt. There's a checkbox. Did I go on tilt or not? Yes or no? Hit the box and tell yourself why, right? Those things matter to you. And tell your friends what happened. Jen and I, on the one cruise we did, we sat down after every session. We talked about the session. And I'm like, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, did this instead of that. And you know what? That really helps. It helps to kind of decompress all of it. It really does. Don't trust yourself to just notice it. Because you won't, right? The whole problem with going on tilt is that you don't know you're on tilt until it degrades, right? Alcohol accelerates it. And I'll be fine. It's under control. Don't worry about it. When you start giving yourself excuses or playing it off, you know you're lying to yourself. You just are. So recognize being on tilt and understand and have a plan to get out of it, to deal with it. It's important. And I think accountability is a big thing with that too. So, all right. What is our next? I want to go here. I want to go here. And we're talking about tipping, my favorite topic. And I know we're going to have an argument now. So you lose, whatever, $7.50 an hour on House Edge. You might be losing $27 an hour tipping. Okay. One of those numbers, by the way, is under your control. The other one is not. Let's talk about tipping dealers and what it does and what it doesn't do. And how to do it without checking your EV. Okay. So what tipping doesn't do, for one thing, tipping does not change your luck. It may bring good energy. It doesn't change your luck. The cards are already there, right? The dice don't know that you're being generous, that you're a George. The amount of tipping does not make the next hand come out better for you. Okay. If anyone tells you otherwise, obviously they're wrong. What it does do, though, is it creates a better experience. Dealers work hard, right? They deal with very difficult players. I have stories after stories of dealers I've seen just get punished by assholes at tables, right? They do that for 8 hours a day. They rely on their tips for income. They're making minimum wage. They rely on tips for income. And just like waitstaff, they're in the customer service business. And if they're servicing you well, your session's better. Maybe not financially better, but your time is better. That has value. We've talked about this, right? When you're emotionally centered, because nothing is negative, you tend to make better decisions, which is important, right? It's also, tipping is kind of like the social contract, right? You're not required to tip, of course. It's expected. It's like I said, it's like tipping a server at a restaurant, right? But in my opinion, there's a major problem. And if you've heard me talk about this, I'm going to repeat myself. If you're new to this, maybe this is the first time you're hearing this framed this way. When you place a bet for the dealer, it's great. When they win, they get paid. That's awesome. And we all love it. And they love having the action. But when you bet for your dealer and you lose, your money goes to the casino. You meant to tip your dealer. You meant to give them money that they need for their family and their food and whatever else. But what you did was tip their boss. The dealer got the action, which they were happy about. They enjoyed it, but they didn't get any money out of it. The house got the money, right? So at a blackjack table, think about this. You win about 45% of your hands, which means 55% of your tips, what you think are tips, are going to the house, not to the dealer. More than half of what you put up there for the dealers goes to their boss instead of them. Now, yeah, they like the action. I'd rather give them a piece of my win than compound my losses by betting for them in the moment. So instead of maybe betting the dealer, tip from a win. After a blackjack, maybe give them the excess, right? I've done that on a blackjack game, right? Bet 30, win 45, give them the 15. We won that together. Thanks for the, right? Let them have the win, right? They know that they're always in action with you that way. The dealers like the action. They just don't know when it's going to pay. But I'll tell you what, they're never going to see one of their bets go down, but they very often will see one of their bets win. We're sharing the next, I say it all the time, we're sharing the next one. Next wins a dealer win. I do it on craps table. I'll go, inside 66, whatever. I'll say the next wins a dealer win. And whatever comes out, boom, right to the house. And I'll tell them, right? I'll get paid that $21. I'll say, look, go 6 across and drop the 15. They love that, right? They love that. And guess what? Who paid for their tip? Their boss paid for their tip, not you. You take that win, let them have it. Their boss paid their tip, not you. Yeah, it's your money when you win. I get it. But that's an interesting way to keep them in action and not drain your rack doing it. Give them action on wins. After a winning session, right? Most people don't do that. I'm surprised by this. Most people don't tip on the way out, right? Give them a percentage or some known number, right? That way 100% of what you intend them to have goes in to them and not go to the house. I don't like tipping the house. I just don't, right? Some players will, do a flat tip set, whatever, right? I often pre-tip, if you can believe that, right? Buy in, toss them a green out of the gate. Let's have a good night tonight. Let's go. And then we bust our ass to make that 25 hours back. But that way they know you're a tipper and you want them dropping the money, right? And something else you should be aware of is, where's the money going? So some houses, you tip the dealer, they do the, and it goes into the toke box, right? Behind the thing. Some house, and they divide it up. At the end of the shift, the pit divides all the tips. They put in a big old pile and they split it evenly, right? You're feeding the pool. You're tipping this guy. That lady over there who is a terrible dealer is getting part of your tip. That's how that works, right? But some houses, the dealers carry a little box with them. They have their own tip box. My local does this, right? All the dealers have their own tip box. So when you tip them, that tap tap goes into their belt and they're keeping their money for themselves. Watch how good a dealer is when they're getting their own tips. They're much more engaged, much more personable. The experience is 10 times better. And that way you know where your money's going, right? The dealer you don't like and it's not treating you well or is unplugged, guess what? That guy's not getting any tips. I know he's not getting any tips because he gets a little box and it's empty. So you watch that, right? A new trend, by the way, in craps, and I fully blame Brian at Hawaii Crap Shooters for this, is that player control bets are going away. I know all of Station casinos now does not allow player control bets. And what that means is you used to be able to bet $1 across for the dealers, $6 across for the dealers. And if they won, they could press the bet. And if they won that, they could keep half and press half. And I've seen tables where dealers have had their bets, from $1 bet up to 10, 15, 20 bucks. The casino doesn't like that, right? Now what's happening is you go $6 across, a bet wins. They take the bet and the win and put them both in the box. You want them to keep on playing, you got to put another dollar up, right? That $6 across very quickly becomes $6, $12, $18, $24 out of your rack as you're winning on the same hand even. Know that. Ask, can I do player control bets? If the answer to that question is no, do not bet for your dealers. Do not do it. Give them off your wins. Don't bet for the dealers on a non-player control craps table. It's just bad. That's the casino getting their greedy mitts into more of your money. It's just another way of screwing you and screwing them. On a no player control table, and know the answer to this question before you start it, bet off the win or tip off the win. You have to not let the casino suck you dry. Unfortunately, that's a new trend that we're seeing. And again, there was a table that was caught on video on YouTube where the dealers had bets over $100 because they were pressing the shit out of it and they hit them. And the casino did not like that. And guess what? That has changed. They have changed the rules now because of that. It's just what it is. So my advice, tip from your wins, not from raw action. The dealer bets feel good, but they leak money to the bosses. Budget your tipping as part of your cost. I'm going to give up some wins. I'm going to pre-tip. I'm going to give away a part of my color up. Know that going in. If I'm buying in for $1,000, at least $100 is going to the dealers. At least 10% of my money is going to the dealers, which is half what you probably do at the restaurant from somebody who's barely paying attention to you. Okay. And again, a flat tip at the end is cleaner than a per hand bet. It's easier to track for you, easier to budget for you, and it's guaranteed money for them. Don't tip more than you can afford. Don't tip more than you can afford to maintain table etiquette. Okay, your bankroll has to come first. If you're feeling obligated to tip more when you're losing, right? People feel that way. Don't tip consistently regardless of your results. All right. And if you feel made you feel guilty by a dealer for not tipping, tap out. That guy's not getting any money. There we go. Jen always bets on the line. I like a line bet for the dealers. The thing I don't like again is if I can't press the line bet. If we can't go up and pull, if I can't do stuff with it, it's hard. If you're going to bet the line, piggyback, right? If you're at a $15 table, bet 20 or bet 16 on your pass line bet. That dollar is theirs. You can press it. You can throw it to them if you want to. Be smart about how you do that. It's important that piggybacking bets is a better way to get them action if you want to without the house taking your wins. Anyway, there we go. That is my thoughts on tipping or toking, as they call it. All right, next we have the sweet teas, the last little bit here before we get out. I'll just go quick. I have a couple of topics here that I think don't deserve a full 5 minutes, but they deserve a word. One is table limits. Has a lot to say about how the casino values their bankroll. Okay, which is, by the way, unlimited, right? They respect the concept of risk of ruin. They know that they have unlimited bankroll and you don't. If they can limit how much you can bet, they can for sure bust you, right? They for sure use table limits to eliminate certain ways of playing, like martingales or big ladders. They won't let you beat them. They will not let you beat them. So table limits are designed to squash them. And along with your Theo, This tells you what they think of you as a person. That's the thing about table limits, right? The Theo, by the way, your theoretical loss. It's how they see you. You are nothing more than a walking dollar bill in that casino. Nothing more. They have facial recognition because they have to. Otherwise, you're a dollar bill walking around the thing, right? How much you're betting, how long you're playing, how many bets you're getting resolved per hour, what's the house schedule, what you play. That's it. You're a number. You are $80 to them. $80 an hour walking around that building. That's it. That's all. They don't care what your name is or anything about you. Between table limits and your Theo, when the casino shows you who they are, you believe them. Okay. Now, more fun stuff. A teaser, in case you don't know it, is a sports betting thing. It's a parlay, a special kind of parlay where you can adjust the point spread. It's almost like buying points, right? You buy, like when you're buying a house, right? You can adjust the point spread in your favor in exchange for a little bit less payout. The trifecta is the horse racing bet where you must pick first, second, and third in order, which is kind of cool. I actually hit a trifecta when I was like 18 at Delaware Racetrack. I never really won at horse racing since, but that was a pretty cool day. It was kind of a fun. Of course, it wasn't my bet. My dad made the bet for me, but it was kind of fun. And then, of course, the last one we'll do is tells. And tells are those things in poker, right? It's a verbal or physical, unintentional thing that will reveal what you have. Like, you know, the eye roll, the whatever. This is the number one reason why it's possible to be a pro poker player, by the way, because you're playing against people and people kind of suck. It's also the number one reason why I'll never play poker in a casino, because I know I have a tell. I know I have lots of tells. I'm too social. And they would see me coming a mile away. I think people would line up to wait for the days when John comes to play poker and just take all my damn money. So I will never play poker. All right. So that's kind of it for letter T. And hopefully you take something away from this, that, you know, the casino's playing the long game, right? Every hour the math works for them and against you. So, you know, as you get more emotional and reactionary, those chips go away faster. And the forces that are grinding you down is time, whether you see it or not, right? Hopefully you see it now and you have some counteractions to that, right? I want you to track your play. I want you to know your triggers that put you on tilt. Learn your warning signs and deal with it. None of this is complicated. It's just discipline. It's boring, right? It's the work that separates players who last from people who give it back, right? And, you know, there's a human element to everything, right? You're a human, dealers are human, your fellow players are human. I think everybody, you know, out there kind of, you know, they deserve respect, right? That's what it's all about, right? Treat people like the people. Where's my camera? My camera went away. Questions and answers. Where's my camera? What happened? We lost. There we go. Wow, that was weird, huh? That was weird. Let me go back a screen. Question. I'm gonna go Q&A really quick. So let's go check. I saw there was some questions out here. Let's go see it. Let me go see some Q's. Q's. Oh my goodness, look at all the questions. VDT's here. I didn't see. I think I did see you here. Good to see you back on the new channel over here. So, bad beats at blackjack cost me so much tilt. They flip over that 6 and the 5 card 21. Oh man, it's brutal, isn't it? But again, as often as that happens, they also bust when they shouldn't. It all worked itself out. But boy, that feels bad, man. It feels bad. The Nexus app is basically ready. There's two apps, Jen. There's the Nexus app that I keep showing, like that's ready to go. I'm waiting for Apple to approve it for the devices, but yeah, the website app.cknexus.com is live and ready to go. The games are not yet ready. They're working. The stock market last week. Oh boy, what is going on, by the way, in crypto? And man, everything's getting destroyed right now. So it's a weird downturn, but you know what's going to happen. It's going to come back. It always comes back, but man, it's fun. It's fun for me to watch people go with their hair on fire. All right, John, if Seattle wins, my 10 bet will pay big. About how about hedge with New England? I could do a hedge off with New England, but again, why hedge a $10 bet? I mean, to me, that's, I don't know. I could put 50 out there to win. What is it? 50 to win? No, I could put out 10 to win 20, whatever, on New England for $10. Who cares? But yeah, you're right. If I had big money in that game from way back, let's say I had put $1,000 on Seattle to start the season, I would for sure be betting New England this weekend to find a way to hedge that off. But yeah, I'm going to do pretty well on that bet. pretty happy with it. What else do we have here? What about you're in a cruise ship and there's only one table and you're that's it? Then you have to either not play or play a different way. Like my advice is this: if you're on a cruise ship and there's one table and you don't like the dealers that are there, and I was on a cruise ship not long ago, one great crew, one bad crew, and if I'm gonna potentially go on tilt, I'll just stop playing regular. I'll just do things like that I can't screw up. I'll go down to like a basic pass line parlay kind of a system, or I'll go a couple of 6 and 8 bets and just kind of like make it so that whatever happens in this, what I know is going to be a bad experience, isn't going to hurt me. That's the thing, right? I know that the dice don't care. I know that if I just did my same old thing, I would get the same results either way. But I also know that if I'm in a bad mood, I'm more likely to press when I shouldn't, or more likely to spread out when I shouldn't. So I don't put myself in a position to make a bad choice. It's not about FOMO on the rolls. It's about you making a bad choice. And I think that's where I'm learning as I go in my gambling career to make better choices. I think that's the thing that I think hopefully is starting to separate me from who I used to be. So, all right. That's it. John is a human. Yes, John, Frank, John is a human. Yeah, I hear that. I could guarantee more. Again, I don't live in Vegas, so I can't make the bet anyway, Ken. I have to call Ian to make the bet for me. Because I can't bet here. Washington, you can't bet, right? We can't bet on sports unless we're at the casino, which for me is 3 hours away. So, all right, I'm going to get out. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys your inspirational quote for the week and remind you this, and hopefully I'm living up to this, right? Legacy. Legacy is not what you leave behind physically. It's what you leave in other people. So, like I keep telling you, when you see somebody at a 6 to 5 table, get them off the table. If you already knew that, my legacy is hopefully you getting somebody else out of a bad space. If I can leave that in you, that spirit of let me net somebody else not get destroyed, that's my legacy. And that could be yours too. So take that with you through the day and through your life. And until tomorrow, Friday Follies, I will hopefully be awake tomorrow and do a show. We'll play some. We'll play some come betting or some pass line laddering with some odds. We'll do the odds ladder tomorrow. So hopefully that show is still scheduled, and I'll see you then. In the meantime, God bless everybody. Have a good one. Bye.